The Price of a Self-Made Soul. A Journey from Privilege to Purpose.
Chapter 1: The Illusion of an Infinite Spring. For the first 24 years of my life, I existed in a world where gravity didn't seem to apply. To me, life was a series of open doors, none of which I had ever turned a handle to open. My father was a man of immense wealth, a self-made titan who had built an empire from nothing. But to me, his wealth was simply the atmosphere I breathed, natural, expected, and seemingly inexhaustible. While my peers were stressing over university exams or internship applications, I was deciding which watch matched my car. I never studied because I didn't see the point. I never worked because I already had everything work was supposed to provide. My days were a blur of indulgence, waking up at noon, breakfast served in bed, and long afternoons spent in designer boutiques where price tags were merely suggestions. I viewed the world as a vending machine that never ran out of stock. Whenever I saw something beautiful, I asked, and it was given.
My friends, those who lived in the same bubble, and I would laugh at the idea of the future. To us, the future was just more of the same. Why worry? Why sweat? My father's bank account was a fortress that protected me from the harsh realities of the outside world. I was a passenger in a luxury vehicle, never once glancing at the man behind the wheel or the engine that kept us moving.
Chapter 2: The Shattered Mirror. The change didn't happen with a bang, but with a heavy silence. One Tuesday evening, my father called me into his study. The room smelled of old leather and tobacco, the smell of serious business. He looked at me with an expression I hadn't seen before. It wasn't anger. It was a profound, quiet disappointment. "Phyllis, we need to talk," he said. I tried to deflect with a joke about needing a new car, but his face remained a mask of stone. He told me that I was no longer a child, that I was a man in years, but a shadow in substance. He spoke about the fragility of fortune and the necessity of character. I laughed it off, telling him he was being dramatic. But he didn't smile back. He simply said, "We shall see," and dismissed me. The next morning, he didn't give me my usual allowance. Instead, he forced me into his car. We drove away from the manicured lawns of our neighborhood and into the heart of the city, areas I had only seen from the tinted windows of a speeding car. He stopped the car in a district where the air was thick with the smell of exhaust and sweat. He pointed to a fruit seller, an old man with skin like cracked parchment, lifting heavy crates in the heat. "Look at him," my father whispered. "He has no safety net. If he doesn't work today, his children don't eat tonight. He has more dignity in his little finger than you have in your entire body." I felt a sting of shame I had never known. For the first time, I felt small. Chapter 3: The Basement of Reality. The following Monday, my transformation began. My father didn't send me to a corner office. He sent me to the archives in the basement. My supervisor was Mr. William, a man who had worked for the company for 30 years and had zero patience for the boss's son. "Your name means nothing here," Mr. William told me, dropping a stack of ledgers that must have weighed 20 pounds onto my desk. "Check every entry. Find every discrepancy. If you fail, you start over." The work was grueling. My eyes burned from the fluorescent lights, and my back ached from the hard wooden chair. There was no room service, no late-night parties, just the rhythmic ticking of the clock and the endless sea of numbers. I wanted to scream, to quit, to run back to my silk sheets. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw the fruit seller and the disappointed look on my father's face. I realized I didn't just want the money. I wanted to be the kind of man who was capable of earning it. Chapter 4: The Fellowship of Labor. As the weeks turned into months, something strange happened. The basement didn't feel like a prison anymore. It felt like a workshop. I started eating lunch with the other clerks. I listened to them talk about their mortgages, their children's tuition, and their small victories. I saw the pride they took in a job well done. One afternoon, I caught a major accounting error that had been overlooked for years. When I showed it to Mr. William, he didn't throw a party. He simply nodded and said, "Good work." That good work felt better than any gift I had ever received. It was the first thing in my life I hadn't asked for, the first thing I had actually built. I began to see my father differently. He wasn't just a source of money. He was an architect of reality. I finally understood that the weight of the pen is often heavier than the weight of a shovel, and both require a strength I was only just beginning to develop. Chapter 5: The Air of Effort. A year after that first day in the basement, my father called me to his office again. This time, I didn't walk in with a smirk. I walked in with calloused hands and a clear mind. He didn't say much. He simply handed me a key to a mid-level management office and a new contract. "You've earned the right to try," he said. I realized then that my father hadn't been trying to punish me. He had been trying to save me. He saved me from a life of hollow luxury and gave me the gift of struggle. Today, I don't just spend wealth. I understand it. I know that every dollar represents an hour of someone's life, a spark of someone's intellect, or a drop of someone's sweat. I am no longer the boy who thought the world was a vending machine. I am a man who knows that the only doors worth walking through are the ones you have the strength to open yourself. My life isn't easy anymore, but for the first time, it is real.